It's Friday. It's happy hour. All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Looks like it's time. Looks like it's time.
Here's your host, Brian Dean.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. Here we are, Friday happy hour, and got a little something different for this this stream. I'm going to demo a tool I've been developing, and it's coming out pretty nicely, and I'm kind of excited about it. I'll get into that. First, let's get to the beer. We've got my beer here. We've got a boat beer from Carton. This is one of my favorite beers. And I'm glad that I can get it now that I live back down in New Jersey. So one thing to note, my fade out for my music was a little more elegant, if you'll notice. I had Claude build that into my sound player, which I use specifically for my streams. And I now have two different playlists. I have my theme song, and then I have my background music. So I can have I don't want the more bombastic music for my background music. So I have two different playlists. And I have a fade out button. So when I hit the fade out, it has a nice, right now it's 7.5 second fade out. Oops, I got to plug my headphones in. The batteries in these headphones don't work anymore. They don't hold a charge, and so I have to constantly have them plugged in. They die in like 3 minutes if I don't have them plugged in. So yeah, I had Claude update my audio player, and so now I can have multiple playlists. If I'm doing a Star Streamers themed, I can have a Star Streamers playlist with my Star Streamers music. If I'm doing a What Did You See stream, I can have my What Did You See music. If I'm having just a generic BPD stream, I can have my BPD theme music. So it's great. And then, like I said, I can have theme music and then background music playlists. And then when I hit the fade out button, I get a nice fade out into my intro. And it's a little nicer. Anyway, cheers. Here we go. Where's my button here? Oops. It's a little filming. I'm going to have to wait. Cheers. Okay, so the tool I want to preview is called PlotPrompt. And like I said, it's something I started developing earlier this week. The impetus for it was I'm running out of credits very quickly. I wonder if that fan is hitting. I got to turn this fan off. 1 second. Just want to make sure that the fan noise isn't being picked up by the mic. So I run out of credits very quickly. I can only generate like 20 videos or something with my monthly credits. It's crazy. But they have this deal where you can buy a day of unlimited generations for CDance. And so I thought, okay, I wonder how many generations I could get done if I just spend as much of the day as possible. I get up and stay up late, just hitting generate. The problem is I'd have to have everything ready to go. So I'd have to basically have everything queued up that I want to try and get done, so that I'm not wasting time trying to write a prompt or trying to generate my start frame images and stuff. And I started thinking, well, how the heck am I supposed to do that? There's no way to queue stuff. You can't just kind of set stuff up. I'm like, I'll have to make a document with my prompts or something. And then I'm like, I started thinking about how this was going to kind of be a challenge to do, so they make the most of this free unlimited, the free day of unlimited generations. And that's when I said, well, let me see if I can get Claude to make me a tool. And so one thing I kind of always start with one thing I've been trying to do for a long time. And so with this, I kind of said, hey, Claude, can you build me a script editor? Because like I said, every time I try and do this, I always want to try and make my own custom writing tool for screenplays and stuff. I use Final Draft now. I bought like an old version of it a while ago. I have Final Draft 10, I guess, but there's no reason for me to update. It does everything I need it to do, but I just was always curious about writing a script tool that would have more stuff in it that would kind of be geared towards the things I need. So I had it build me the tool, and it did a really, really good job. I was using the new Opus 5, and it did a fantastic job. So with that, I just started to add on these ideas. I said, okay, well, now with my script, I want to be able to break out shots. And now once I have shots, I want those shots to have a prompt window. Okay, I can have a sip of this now. Let's go. Cheers, everybody. Happy hour. Okay. So now that I have this, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. So now that I have this, this script tool with my shots broken out, now I have like a separate panel for each shot where I can start building my prompts. And I can go through the script and get all the shots ready to go so that everything's kind of like queued up in this thing. I just copy, paste. And so I started building with that intent, and it was working. Like everything I asked it to do, it was doing, and it was doing really well, and it actually worked. And part of the reason why I wanted to do this was for that. But there's also I have 2 different Higgsfield accounts, and I have a top view account. And so I actually generate across both accounts. And, because I have credits in both, so I want to try and use both when I'm working on a project. But if you set things up in one account, then it's like, you can't just access your other account from, each account can't talk to each other. So it's like, well, how do I, if I get everything set up in one account, I still have to kind of redo that in the other account. Well, if you do everything in the centralized tool, it's all done. So you're just copying and pasting. Like you're not actually doing all that setup work. And everything's organized, and there's a tracker. So anyway, let's get into it. But that was kind of the reason why I started developing this tool. Let me just double check a few things here. And I guess we could get the background music started since I was talking about it. All right. Just have something there in the background. I'm still trying to settle on a good level for it. I guess that's right. Okay, so let me jump into, I'll show you guys like the tools that you can do this kind of setup work in Higgsfield, right? Like some of these capabilities exist. So I'll show you if we go into Higgsfield. This is a tool that lets you kind of do what I'm talking about. Now, take a look at this. It's kind of a mess, but it's, ignoring all these lines, which I wish you could turn off. I still don't know if there's a way to do that. It's basically organizing everything. So I have my character reference sheets here, and these all get plugged into each one of the shots, and then each one of these shots, I had to put a name in for each shot, and then this is my prompt for each shot. Oh, why did that happen? Okay. All right. I click on it and it resizes. Amazing. So anyway, this is kind of like how you would do it in these these websites. And then, here's like, okay, this was for me to like track stuff, what phase it's in. So I never got very far with this because, again, I was working. There's 2 problems with this. One is if I'm working in 2 accounts, I like all this work that I'm doing here, I've got to redo this whole thing over in the other account. It's kind of a pain in the neck. And also, the other problem was that this doesn't use your free generations. So if I have unlimited generations, you can't use those unlimited generations in this tool. You're always burning credits. And that's like a big problem. That's a drawback. Like what part of the reason why I bought some of these accounts was because I got a deal. I wanted to take advantage of the deal and get unlimited generations. Well, you can't use them in Canvas. It's always burning your credits. So because of all this, I wanted to try and build my own tool. And the other thing is, like, let's say I get an account and I do some work. Well, what happens when I cancel my subscription? It's not only a portability issue of being able to work between different accounts if you have different accounts, but it's also, what if you cancel your subscription? You lose everything. Now, you can download your shots, you can download your images and stuff, but your prompts aren't attached to them. And that's like a big part of your workflow are the prompts. So trying to solve all these problems led me to this tool. So let's beer is so tasty. Let's hop into that's not loud, this beer sliding across the table that the mic is mounted to. Okay, let me find my now this app is web-based right now, and unfortunately it doesn't only work in Chrome, but it works the best in Chrome. So I've been using Chrome. I don't like Chrome. I don't use Chrome as my browser. But for this, because of the way some of the permissions things, and I think it's actually because, like, I use Brave, but Brave has like a lot of privacy features. And I think that's part of the reason why some of these things don't work, because you don't have as much access to, from what I understand, when you're using reference images that are locally on your computer, it has a hard time resolving those paths because it's kind of blocked from like accessing your computer in a particular way. And I think that's like a privacy thing. It like blocks it off. I think that's what the case is. But that doesn't happen with Chrome. However, I'm still not happy with that functionality of it, so I'm working on that. But let me hop into, let's just hop into the tool. I'm trying to figure out the best way to give this demo, but let's just get into it. So here's the tool, okay? And this is my full script of what did you see? This is the entire script. And what you're seeing here is a scene, and there's like, several scenes here. And what these highlighted regions represent are shots. So basically you're going through, and now this is a manual process. I know there's one caveat before I get into all this. I know that there are tools where you can drop in a script and AI will break it all out for you and do the storyboards. And at some point you have to decide, are you a filmmaker? Are you a storyteller? Or are you just a button pusher for AI? Because if you're letting AI do all the work, you're not really a filmmaker. You're not a storyteller. That's my view. At some point, you got to get your hands dirty and you got to get in there and do some work. So yes, I know that some of these things can be automated. I believe that some of these things you really should be doing yourself if you want to consider yourself a filmmaker or a storyteller. And like planning out the shots, like going through in your head, saying like where cuts should be, what kind of shots you want. I think that's something you should be doing. It's not to say that you can't have AI help you or things like that, but I just think like, the more involved you are in the process, the more you are the filmmaker. So that's a little caveat to this. Like I know that there are tools that do all this stuff for you, and I'm not a fan of that, to be honest with you, because it's like, make me a short film about a submarine, and then it just does everything. At that point, it's the AI's film. It's not yours. You're just a button pusher. You're making AI's film by paying for it, buying the credits, and then just hitting the button. And AI's making all the creative decisions, doing all the work, making everything. You're just, here, take my money. and I'll push the buttons for you. I mean, you're not a filmmaker. Come on, stop it. Stop it. Do some of the work yourself. So we're going to go through this, and but that's basically what we're doing here. And I guess by showing you, you'll kind of understand. So what I can do is, well, first, I suppose we could demo the actual script writing part of it. So I'm just going to save this here. Oops. Actually, you know what? Yeah, we'll do a script. We'll do a script. I was going to say I had another script I was going to open, but we'll just do a new one here. So we'll start over. And again, this just works like a normal screenwriting piece of software. So we can say interior, Brian's office, evening. And I wonder if Brian sits, I should have it like fix that for you. Brian sits at his desk with a beer and a pint glass. He hits the go live button and the stream starts. A countdown appears on this screen and sits back waiting for the 5 minutes. Music plays. At the end, he unmutes and greets the audience. And then Brian. Hey, everyone. Yeah, so that's something I got like a list of things here. Like my bug fixes and feature requests here that I've been, I should make it. It should be smart enough to auto fix that and auto capitalize. I should. Now the issue is, I'll say I ran out of credits. Like there's a lot of things I wanted to get to. I burned through 2 million credits on this week, which for reference, that's The Lord of the Rings twice. Okay, that's how much data is 2 million tokens. So my credits refresh on Sunday, at which point I can start getting back to work on this stuff. So there's still some things that are that I know about that I want to fix, and then there's just things I can't do yet because I'm waiting for my credits to refresh. So hey everyone, how's it going? And then so if you hit enter twice, it's like, okay, it'll ask you what you want now, and I'll just say more action. He hits the crowd cheer button, and then maybe we'll do character fan 1. Hey, Brian, how's it going? And then fan 2. Oh my God, this is great. And you can see it's storing, the characters. So, you don't have to type them out. It's smart enough to do that. Oh, hi fans. I didn't know I had any. How wonderful. I didn't bring beers for you. We'll go action. The look of discontent is fierce. The evil eye him. Character fan 1. What? Character, fan 2. Why else would we be here? They get up and leave. Then we can do scene heading, exterior, Brian's studio office, continuous. fan 1 and fan 2 storm out to the parking lot and get in their cars and drive off. Okay, so you get the idea. So that's the script functionality. It's a, it works. It's a script writing software. It's got the basic stuff you need in here. Now there's a lot of advanced stuff that I haven't put in here yet, like character lists and stuff like that. Like it does have, you could see it builds a character list, but you can't there's like character reports. There's all these different things that you can do in Final Draft that I didn't build in here because this is, I'm trying to gear this specifically towards an AI project. And so some of those things I might eventually add, or if I determine I don't need them or want them, I'm not going to put them in. So this is basically the script writing software. And what you can see is happening is every time I do a new scene, it's building out the scenes here. It tells me I have one page, I've got 2 scenes, and no shots so far. So we could say, let's just put in another scene just for the heck of it. Scene, interior, Brian's office, continuous. Brian looks sad, he sips his beer alone. Okay, so now we've got 3 sequences here. And the next stage would be to start going through this and trying to break out shots. So you're like, okay, we're going to start shooting this. What are we going to do? So I'm just going through this. I'm like, okay, Brian sits at his desk with a beer and a pint glass. He hits the go live button. All right. So first we want to have the establishing shot. So that's probably just going to be this. So we're going to do Control-Shift-S, create a shot. Then, he hits the go live button and the stream starts. So that'd probably be a close-up of me hitting the button, so that's a shot. And then we switch to a countdown appears on the screen. And then a wide shot, him sitting back, waiting for the 5 minutes. Okay, so you can see right now we've built out our shots. Every time I do a Control-Shift-S, I create a shot. And it just auto numbers it, and it gives it the scene numbers. Now actually, scene number. Interesting. Okay, that's a bug. So you can see it's giving me the scene numbers here, but it's not numbering them in the script. That's interesting. Oh, there they are. Huh, okay. Wow, I have to click in it for it to update. Okay, that's a bug. Scene numbers only update when you click. Okay. Now, you can go ahead and add in scenes all you want. And this is actually something I'm in the middle of doing right now. So as you're drafting this, you might add a scene like in between here, and say like maybe we go scene heading, exterior, Earth in space, continuous. An alien ship flies by. I don't know, nonsense. But you can see it's updating my scenes here. Once you start going into shot mode and you leave draft mode, your scenes are going to be locked. Okay, so that's one. This is again, now we're getting into like production workflow stuff, and that's why I'm trying to build this tool to encompass all this stuff. So once you start, once you leave draft mode, your script scene numbers are going to be locked. These won't change anymore. They won't update. So obviously, as you're drafting it, you're going to be, moving things around and stuff like that. So you want them to renumber. But when you go into when you leave draft mode, those numbers get locked. Now you can still add them, but what happens, the naming convention at that point is you get a letter after the shot. So scene 1 would be scene 1A. And if you add another one, it would be scene 1B. Scene 2 would be scene 2A. So you get a letter appended to it. So your numbers your scene numbers don't change. You can't be constantly shifting your scene numbers once things go into production, because there's a lot of like, those numbers get assigned. Like each shot has a number, a code to it based on the sequence and shot number. So if those are constantly changing, you're going to have chaos. So that's just one thing. Again, it's production stuff is being built into here. Once you leave draft mode, now your let's just go and we'll do a few more shots. So music plays, and then at the end he unmutes and greets the audience, and then we get our first line of dialogue. Okay, so let's just go through now and start saying, like, what do we do with these shots? So we go to shot 1, and you can see over here. Over here is our shot window. So we can have a wide shot of Brian's studio. This is just a description, and you can see that this shows up here once I enter a description. Now we have show style and sequence style. These are appended to your prompt depending on what they are. So show style means this is going to be appended to every prompt you generate. Something you might want in here might be no music, right? So no music, because C-Dance or some of these models will tend to put in music. So just, I don't want music, I'm going to add my own after. One thing you might want, like, let's say you want like a filmic look. So you might want like, 1980s film look, slight grain, no vignette, stuff like this. That's going to be basically the overall style of your generations. And then for sequence style, now you're putting in stuff that's only going to be relevant to this. Like, so that might be lighting, like, studio lighting, RGB light accents, stuff like whatever it is that you want in here. Again, these are just things that are going to be dependent on the thing that you're writing. But you have you have these hierarchies. So now we have the prompt. So this would be like, maybe, let's see, Brian. Oh, and here's the other thing. So when you're building prompts, you have references, right? So you're going to make references for your characters, references for your sets, props, and then you're also going to have you're also going to have like starting frames. So in your prompt, obviously you want to include that stuff, right? So like if I build a character sheet for Brian, then I'll want to indicate that I have, and you'll have these on your, on the site you're using. You'll have to build these there. There's some things you're going to have to manually do, right, to get this thing set up. It's not quite going to do everything for you. There's a little bit of like, you have to do some setup. But then for the prompt, you just say, well, I think we'll just do a tag. Okay. And that will indicate, so when you copy this prompt, if you have a Brian element, and the @Brian is like, that's how you indicate an element in all these aggregator sites. You do an @ the name, and it goes to look at what you've built for that as an element. So you can build that into your prompt, so when you copy paste, it'll automatically tag that element. So you can build your library of elements by going into tags, which maybe it should be elements. But you can see here, you can manually create one and assign it whatever you want. It also is going to go through your characters and automatically flag them like, hey, these are your characters. Do you want to build an element for them? So we could say, yeah, let's build a fan 1 and a fan 2. Okay. So now we've got those guys in here. So if I go, if I start to type with @ it gives me a list of my elements. So I can just kind of go through and select one. This avoids, typos that might screw up your prompt. Okay, so that's like the element feature. It's built into here. So Brian sits at his desk. His back is turned. On his side is a beer. Or maybe he places a beer down on the desk beside him and reaches for his Stream Deck. Okay. And now you'd want to enter in your start frame, right? You could also enter in reference images. I'm going to show this. I'm going to open up my other script that I have and I'll show you this stuff. But I'm just showing you like an example of how you would build this stuff out. So you can essentially just start to build your prompt here. Now you can go into an LLM and have that build the prompt for you and then just copy it and paste in here. So why would you want to do it this way? Well, this is going to organize everything for you. So you've got your script, you've got your shot breakouts, and then you've got your prompt here. So again, this is a way to organize your project, and it's a way to keep everything centralized. And as you generate your images, you can download them locally, include them here, and now everything is kind of organized and exists locally on your computer. So if you ever cancel your subscription, or if you want to, maybe you get a better deal on another subscription, you're like, I want to cancel this one and move over to this other provider, your project will be intact. So it's just a question of canceling, like whatever, all that stuff can go away because you've got it here. You pop into your new workflow, and they may even have things set up a little differently. So like the Canvas tool that exists in Higgsfield may not exist on another site, or it may exist in a different format. Well, you've got all your information here. So whatever their way of doing things is, you can use this to rebuild your work, and you don't have to go redoing this. How did I do that? What was my prompt? What image did I use? It's all stored here. It's completely keeping track of everything for you. Now, let's say you get into production, or let's say that this shot is ready to go. And let's say you can pick up model, and again, we can manage our models here. And let's say I'm going to use CDance 2.0, and let's say CDance 2.5 is out, and I'm going to use that. And maybe there's some where I'm going to use Clang 3. So I can add my models in here, and then for this shot, if I'm like, oh, this is going to have, I need whatever it is I'm going to need, I'm going to have to use CDance. So you can select the model you're going to use. Again, when you go to do this again in another provider, or even if you have this shot, there's this archived, and you want to go back and see how you did something, you can see your prompt, you can see the model you used, you can see everything. And when you download the video, you can even let's say we move this now to prompted, okay? So you can see it gets an updated status, and this shot now is indicated here by this yellow line, right? And these gray shots are also showing you the different lines. So when you click a shot, you can see what part of the script that shot is correlated to, right? So now this says it's prompted and it's ready to go. Now, another cool thing is if you go in here and change this, right? You go to make a change, this is going to give you a warning. It's like, hey, buddy, the script, you just changed the script and you've already written a prompt. So make sure that your prompt still reflects the script because you changed it. So you can say, okay, yeah, I checked it out, everything's fine. Or you can go and make the necessary change before and then hit the change button. So again, if I change this again, I get another warning. Now, if I flip this back to draft, I can then go do whatever I want. It's fine because I'm still in draft mode. But once you move out of draft mode, you'll start getting warnings. And again, this is just to make sure that you're not making changes that are going to screw up your prompt, or that, because again, you make these generations, it costs money. So you don't want to be wasting money. Let's say I'm ready to go and I've generated this and it looks great. The video that I could actually drop in the link here. This will tell me what my final was, and I can also just switch this to final. And now I get a nice little green status. This shot is final. And now if I were to go to try and edit in here, now I can't because it's locked. Hey, buddy, it's final. What are you doing? Don't touch it. Leave it alone. This shot's done. So again, these are production workflow things that are trying to help minimize mistakes, minimize chaos, make sure everything is running smoothly. Again, now this happens sometimes in films where something that's final gets charged back, and you can do the same thing. You can put it back in draft mode, and then you can make whatever change you want, right? But again, these are just to kind of help you track things and prevent you from making mistakes. Now, another thing you can do is put this on hold. It'll turn red. That means for whatever reason, like maybe you're waiting for, again, this would be more for if you're working with somebody else, like maybe you're updating a character or something, you can just put it on hold. That means, hey, don't touch this. We're waiting for stuff. Or you could oop it. Now, oop is, blue sky. Oop was out of picture, was what we would, what we'd call a shot that got caught. It got ooped. So when you oop it, you can see it gets a line struck through it, and it gets a line struck through it here, and it's a bit fainter. Now let's say you've got like all your shots. We'll just kind of start to put a whole bunch of shots here, and we'll start to change some. Oh, we're in. Okay. Oh, okay. I forgot we're in different scenes now. So let's come back to this one, and we'll start to just like change some statuses. And you can see like maybe it starts to get a little hectic, and it's kind of getting like there's all these highlighted regions around. And again, they all correspond to the shot, so you can select it. Let's say it's just getting a little cluttered. You can just, oops, did not want to do that. Show shots. You can just turn that off, right? Oh, so you can see when I said mark shot, you can see what it did was it added in a shot between 050 and 06. So that's why these numbers have that 10 slot padding. To do that. Now the scene renumbering, this can be renumbered when it's still in draft mode, but once you go into once you start to move shots out of draft mode, some of them, 6 of them, that shouldn't actually work. That's another bug. It shouldn't allow you to renumber shots. Oh wait, let's just see what would happen. Is it going to renumber? 080 is finaled. It did. It renumbered it. So that's potentially a bug. Like things that are finaled really shouldn't be changing. So that's something I'll have to, that's another, well, it's not a bug. It's just an undesirable behavior. So finaled scenes. Okay. All right. So there's other things I want to do with this section, but you get the point, I think. So it's, like I said, it's pretty robust in the functionality. And, I think for me anyway, the critical part of this is the portability and the archival ability that this gives you, where you can easily, well, let me just show you where's that shot that I did? This one. Okay, let's put this back to prompted. So I'll just show you if I copy the prompt and then if I open up WordPad and I paste it, there's my prompt. So you can see it gives me my show style prompt, my sequence style prompt, and then we get my shot prompt. So, we're getting like, that's what the prompt is doing. Now, the other thing you're going to want to do is do a copy and paste of your start frame, copy and paste your reference images, and drop those in. How that's going to work right now, the way it works, I think I want to make some tweaks to it. That's one of the things I'm still working on, is how it manages the files that are on your drive. Because this is web-based, there's some complications with that, but the way it works right now, I'm not quite happy with. So that's one of the things I'm going to try and work on once I get my credits back. But let's hop into a script that I've done some more work on. Now the other thing is it saves like untitled as recent here. This recent scripts thing needs some work. Now is this okay? Yeah, all right. So is this okay? So yeah, this has got some images in. So you can see I've dropped in some images here. So now we're starting to see like what this would look like once you're dropping your images in. So we've got, this would be my start frame. These would be my reference images that I have if I'm using them. Again, if you've got this built in your aggregator, which a lot of them you build your elements. And so by using your tag here, Dylan looks at Bill, what is the scene here? This is 030. Where are we here? Huh. Okay, this is another thing. It should be jumping to that shot in the script. That was something that was fixed, actually. Interesting. It should, like, hop to that. Okay. I wonder why that's not working. So we get close-up of Dylan. And so this is his line. Dylan looks at the men and says... And there we go. So again, you'd want to, build out your prompt, however, with whatever other information you want and need. Now, again, here I have like my show style, 1950s film stock, heavy grain. This would be like basically, like the film that the project's being shot on. This maintains a consistent look across all my generations. That's not going to change. And then in our sequence, this is just like, I have no music in here twice, but I don't need that there. This is just, all this sequence, all this takes place inside their chart room with their overhead lights, and it's creaky, like whatever you want to put in here. So that's kind of like, building this out. Again, you can pick your model. You can write any notes down here, like, 8 generations to get it right, whatever you want to put down here. And then you put the link to the finished clip that you like. This, again, is just for tracking purposes. And again, depending on how the files are handled, like you might be able to just drag your file right onto there, and it'll just like enter the link in for you. It's handling those files that are locally on your computers is one of the things that are a little bit tricky right now. What else can I demo here? So, I hopefully maybe you're starting to see like the usefulness of this. Again, it's like if you're building it with this and you're putting your start frames here, you're putting your reference images here, and everything's kind of locally on your computer, and this is kind of telling you what everything is and what the prompts are that you should be using, you can easily transfer your work to any service provider that you're using, Higgsfield, TopView, whatever it is. And you have everything set up here. So it's portability is the one thing that I just don't know of any other tool that does this. Now, again, there's like some things I want to try and build into where maybe it communicates a little more directly. Like maybe I could have a thing where it can actually connect with Claude, right? And you could actually have Claude doing some work in the background, or Claude can access your script for you. There's all kinds of stuff I want to do, but again, this is like, I want to try and get a beta done in the next week or two. And I want to give I'll just give you guys access. Anybody who wants this, if somebody's watching this and you think this is something you'd want, please, leave me a comment down below. I'm going to put a link. I've got my Patreon live, and I'll probably make the access to this available through my Patreon account, once it goes live. It's free to join the Patreon. It's no charge. You'll be able to access the tool through that. And the only reason is I kind of want to just have a place for people to go where like I can get some feedback, you know, and I'd like to know like what's working, what's not working, if people like it, don't like it, stuff like that. So hopefully like you can see kind of the usefulness of something like this and why it's why it would be handy. Again, I don't really know of anything that works like this that's out there. If there is, I haven't come across it. And what this is just me thinking through, like with my experience working at studios, knowing how those pipelines work, and knowing what I've been doing with these AI tools, the things that I know that like the problems I run into, and organization for me is always a big problem, like trying to figure out how to organize things, because these projects, once they get to a certain size, like you can see, this is 24 pages, 56 scenes, and right now there's 31 shots. And I've only broken out, I actually should have an indicator here that shows which scenes have shots broken out. That would be something to add in here. But, you know, only a few of these, I think only the first 3 have shots. So we've got 31 shots in just the first 3 sequences, it looks like. So, you know, keeping all that organized, like, you know, it can be kind of difficult. With this, just at a quick glance, you can see right away by looking at your script, like once all these things. Another thing I want to do is be able to shift click and like adjust multiple shots at once, which I don't think you can do. No. But, you know, you can see like as things get finalized, like your script starts to turn green and you get like this nice visual cue of, you know, things that are done, how much of your script has been finished, how much still is left to do. And, you know, again, you've got your nice little status tracker. You've got the prompts you're using. You've got the model you're using. You've got the link to the used version of the video that is, you know, whatever's in your edit. This is like one of these things that this part's a little manual, a little tedious. You know, again, it's like, it's if you want to use this, you can. If not, you don't have to. You know, some of these things, obviously, they're there if you want them. You know, notes, like whatever additional notes you want to put in here. So it really helps you archive your project and make sure that, you know, once you're, you know, for whatever reason, if you're not subscribed to a provider anymore, you just like, what happens to all your projects? You're going to be in this mad scramble to try and archive everything if you haven't. And you're probably going to forget something. You're probably going to lose some of your work because it's a lot. You know, I know for me, I've only been doing this for a few months and I've got a ton of stuff that would be just, oh my God, it would be really a pain in the neck to have to try and recreate everything. So, you know, that's why now with this project, before I get too far along, I'm going to start building everything out this way. So that's essentially the tool. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I've missed here. We've got like, you can export a PDF. This will import Final Draft files too. So like this script was originally written in Final Draft and I imported it in through, you know, imported it in, read the script fine. This beer's so tasty. Let's see here. What else have we got? I think that might be about it. Oh, Umar updates 89. Hey, how's it going? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to the chat. If anyone was in there, I was kind of focused. I'm trying to remember the things that I need to show with this. I think that's about it. I think that covers it for the most part. So yeah, there's a lot of things I want to try. Like I said, I think there's opportunities to do a lot with a tool like this. And I had a lot of other things I wanted to try, but like I said, I ran out of credits. So, or ran out of tokens with Claude. So I have to wait till Sunday, and then those will. I want to just get this like in a workable state. Like the big thing I want to try and work out are these things. So basically, you just like can link. Like everything that you're using has to be in a folder for right now. That's just kind of the way it is. So like if I want to change this frame, oops, what happened? You can just enter in stuff here. If I want to enter in Bill's references here, Bill looks really annoyed. Where's my beer? He says. Wait, does the comma goes in here, right? Does the comma go in here? Or is it like this? I always forget that. So let's see. I think that's about it. I think that covers everything. I've still got a little bit of beer here left. Again, like there's still things I'm adding to this. There's still a couple problems that need to get worked out. For instance, these, so here's what happened here. So this is, again, it's flagging me that a change has been made. Now this actually shouldn't happen. Is it because I changed the frame? That's another undesirable behavior. Like a final shot, you shouldn't be able to change it at all. It should be locked down completely, which it should be like, if I go to, so I can't make changes in the script. That's an issue too. Like if I make changes to the sequence style, that's going to also change your prompt for, a final shot, which would be undesirable. We used to have a thing at Blue Sky that was like an insulate, where once a shot got finaled, or once it got to a certain point, it was like sectioned off from everything else. Like any updates wouldn't touch it, because you didn't want things changing under your feet. So the shot would be basically insulated from all updates. And I'm wondering if something like this, the funny thing is at Sony, they didn't work that way. So you could have a shot that was finaled, something would be changed. You might have to go back to do a re-render and you'd get a different render because it would pick up those changes. So you'd have to manually go back and figure out what changed and hard code the versions to the versions that were at the time. I think there was actually a way that was not supposed to happen, but it happened to me a couple times. And you had to like go hunt down, like look at the dates, be like, no, I got to lock this to this version. But these are the things I'm trying to like think of in here. Now, again, it's like, this is, how serious people are about this. This is like, how hardcore this stuff has to be is, I guess depending on who's using it. But the idea here is to try and keep people from, versioning sucks. What's up, Victor? Versioning is definitely like a pain in the ass. And I remember like one of the big problems was when you were trying to get your stereo renders done at Sony. There were occasionally times where your versions didn't match. Your I forget which eye was the master eye, the right eye. Whatever the off eye would render, and it would render a little differently. And again, it was like trying to go back through and hunt down the proper versions of stuff to get those like locked into your render to make sure that they matched when it was rendered, when your 2D renders were done. So this is, again, I'm trying to like think of those problems that would arise and try and like build them in here. Again, this isn't the stereo workflow, but just like if a shot gets finaled, you want this to be locked. you want it to be, nothing in here should change. So it should basically lock all this stuff off, and make it its own thing, so that if you go to rerun this shot, now you're never going to get the same thing again, because you don't have like access to the seed number, where if you were running it through like Comfy UI or something, you'd actually have your seed number. And if you were doing a Comfy UI project, you could actually do that. You could put in, seed, whatever. And so if you rerun the shot, you'll get the exact same result, same prompt, same seed, you'll get the same result. But they don't really give you access to that in these aggregators. I'm not entirely sure why. That would actually be helpful. But so anyway, yeah, I'm just trying to think of take master, exactly. All those tools can be built now with Claude. Isn't that amazing? Like, it's crazy what Claude can do. Like, I'll show this thing off again. This music player is my music player that I built specifically for my streams, and this was made by Claude. And I've got my, I was talking about this at the beginning of the stream. One of the problems I was having was I want like a playlist of background music, and when it starts playing, I want it to be at a certain volume. I also want the ability to have different playlists, and I know that other media players will do that, but the problem is you're using them for other things. Like you open up a movie file or something, and then that opens and the volume is way down, so you change the volume. And then so for me, it was just like, let me just build a dedicated tool that's got everything set up exactly how I want it to just remove the friction. So I just said, hey, Claude, make me an audio player. And it's got my own logo on it. I can have different playlists. And so again, let's go to, this is my background music. So if I switch to theme, and we've got my BPD theme, the 80s hair metal, and the epic orchestral. So you can see the volume switches to 100%. So let's go hair metal. Let's get this rocking. So this is my theme music that plays the beginning of the stream. Now I can load this up with whatever I want, but generally, the countdown's only 5 minutes, so I only need like 5 minutes worth of music here. Now, if I want to do a fade out, I get a nice fade out. I just have to push a button. My music fades out. I can move on. I can start talking again and whatever I want to do. And I can set the duration of this right here. Like, how long do I want this fade out to be? Maybe I want it to be 3 seconds. So oh, did I not? Why is it? Hold on. There we go. Now we get a 3-second fade out. So if you don't use AI for stuff, you really should, because you'd be surprised at the kinds of things it can do. If there's something you're stuck with and you need a tool to do something, I mean, now these LLMs are good enough that it can do it for you. Like all these things that we used to have, there were departments or entire departments of people whose their only job was to make the tools to make your life easier. Well, now you just subscribe to an LLM and you're like, hey, I need this thing that would make my life easier. Claude, this is what I need. Make it. Okay, sure. And it just goes off and does it, and they're really capable now. So you'd be shocked at like the things that these things can build. This whole tool, like I said, this was built in, let me switch back to my background music here. This whole thing was built this week. And, again, it was like I was working, as much as I possibly could. And I was constantly hitting my credit threshold, my token threshold. And I'd have to wait till like 3-4 hours that day for it to refresh. Then finally, like a couple days ago, I hit my my weekly limit. And now I'm stuck till Sunday. So I actually meant to do this for the stream, but I forgot. Let me just hold on. Just for illustration purposes. Okay. So, this is a reference guide. This is the Lord of the Rings. Okay? The credits that I burned through are 2 of these stacked. That's how much, like, the amount of word data that was used to make this so far is 2 trilogies of the Lord of the Rings. 2 of these. So could you build this yourself? You absolutely could. There's no reason why you couldn't. But again, it's like you're gonna have to spend. This took me the better part of a week working on this all day long, and again burning through 2 million tokens, which, to buy 1 million tokens I think is $100. And I'm still not done with this yet. There's still a lot more work. By the time I'm done with this, I'll probably have invested, definitely several $100s into it, getting it built. So the question becomes, could anybody do this? Yeah, of course. But, anybody can make dinner, but they still go out to restaurants sometimes because you're like, you know what? I don't want to cook myself tonight. I just want somebody else to do it, So, the issue is it's coming to a point where AI can do most anything. And if you have AI, sure, you could do stuff yourself, but do you want to? Like, is that what you want to spend your time doing? Or there's still going to be a time and place where you're just like, somebody else has already done it. Just let me use theirs, right? AI is not quite at the point where you get things instantaneously now. And even when it does do things pretty quickly, you still have to pay for it. So, what I'm trying to do is build a tool for myself, but also something that I think, oh, come on. All right. Also something that I think other people can use. You want API key for Claude. Do I want an API key for Claude? Are you offering me your credits? I'm actually considering upgrading my plan just to get this thing done, but I want to see how much work I can get through next week once my credits refresh, and then I will see like what I need to do as far, because I do think this is a worthwhile tool, and I actually do think other people could use it. And the next step for this would be a desktop version. I'll probably have a couple different versions of this. Like, what I want to do is release it to anybody who wants it for free initially. And I'll probably have, again, because this is costing me money and time to build this. So, but I do want to have these tools available to people. So I might try and do like a free version and then a paid version. Excuse me. Oh, Umar updates. Yeah, I'm trying to like. I think I should have enough. Like what plan do I have now? I think I just have the normal plan. I might upgrade to the pro plan. I think that's the next one up. But I haven't done enough coding like to really be using my credits this quickly. But you burn through them a lot quicker with the coding. I've noticed. I was hitting my daily limits and stuff a lot quicker. I'm trying to think. I think that's about it. The other thing I was going to talk about was the Odyssey. I saw the Odyssey yesterday. The first time I've been to the movies in 4 years. 4 years. Last movie I saw was Top Gun 2, Top Gun Maverick, which I think it was 4 years ago. And basically, if this is the best Hollywood has to offer, it's probably going to be another 4 years before I go back to the theater. Nah, that's just the honest truth. Anybody else see Odyssey out there? What did you think? It wasn't bad, and I would not tell anybody to not see it. But Christopher Nolan is, he's one of the top directors out there, and this was a big budget film. There's a lot of big names in it. I expected more. I just expected more. wasn't bad by any stretch. I think the biggest thing I can say about it is I just didn't care about anything that was happening. I didn't care at all. Didn't care about the story. I didn't care about the characters. Odysseus's crew, when they died, didn't care, didn't even know who they were. They're just a bunch of red shirts on the Enterprise. They're just there to die. Have no attachment to them whatsoever. When he gets home, I didn't even care that he got home because he didn't seem to care that he got home through the whole movie. He was just everything just fell flat. I just didn't care. I enjoyed watching it. Everything looked great. It was well shot. There was nothing particularly bad about the acting, except John Leguizamo annoyed the hell out of me. The only thing he's ever been cast well in was for Sid in Ice Age. Everything else I see him in, he just sticks out for some reason, and he's distracting. And same thing with The Odyssey. I just was like, what is he doing there? I don't know why he's here. How can you contact me? You can... Well, I have a Discord channel. You can join my Discord, and you can message me through that. There will be a link. There isn't one now, but there will be a link in the comments once I'm done with the video. That would be the best. You can also go to my website and contact me through my website. However, those tend to get lost sometimes, so I wouldn't use that approach because there's a lot of spam that goes there, basically, and I kind of ignore it because it's mostly all spam. But the Discord channel would be the best way because right now the Discord channel is relatively new. There's not a lot of people in there. There's not a lot of activity. Any activity that's in there, I'll pay attention to. So I can actually put a link to that. Well, I have to find it. So I'll do it after the stream's over. The Odyssey was, like I said, go see it if you're planning on seeing it. I'm not telling anybody to not go see it. It's just my biggest... I could summarize it as just being disappointed. That's all. Like that to me is like, this is the best that Hollywood has to offer right now. Cause Christopher Nolan's like one of the best directors out there, and it had a lot of top talent in it. And it just fell flat for me. And I think this is basically the problem with a lot of, somebody just messaged me. This is a problem with a lot of the stuff in Hollywood right now, which is why I think it's in such a downward spiral. They talk about AI slop. Well, what is it? What makes it AI slop? A lot of people say AI, it's heartless, soulless content. This was a heartless, soulless film. It looked great. Don't get me wrong. It looked great. And like I said, the acting was good. It was fine. The casting was awful. All the casting was wrong. Like, it was distractingly bad. But the performances were fine. There's nothing wrong with the acting. There's nothing wrong with the visuals. But there was no soul. There was no heart. I just didn't care. It was slop. It was very, very, very well produced, very expensive slop. And I did not care for the soundtrack. The audio mix was typical Nolan garbage. Very, very muddled and hard to hear at the beginning. It seemed like it got better at the end because I didn't notice it as much. The beginning, very hard to hear dialogue. Don't know why he does this. It's really annoying. Like, that's a technical flaw. Like, you're not making a creative decision by making your movie so that nobody can understand what your actors are saying. That's like just technically wrong. Don't do that. So that was my experience with the Odyssey. So it was kind of, and the other thing I'll say is it's the whole movie was shot in IMAX, and I saw it in IMAX. And I can't say there were really any scenes where I was blown away. Like, oh my God, this is what IMAX is for. Like, this shot, this visual. Like, I remember seeing, like, he did, Dark Knight Returns. I remember there being a couple city shots that were just stunning, like how vast it was and how immersive it felt. And like Avatar on in IMAX 3D, it was like, oh my God, it was like you're on a ride. It was like an experience, this massive screen and just so immersive. I didn't get that sense with this one. I just didn't get that sense with it. It just, nothing felt like it took advantage of that big screen, that big format. Again, it was all flat. Everything just fell flat. which is a shame. It's going to do well. I think it's doing very well. It's going to make money for sure. And I think most people are probably going to like it. But, the friends that I went with, they liked it. I just, like I said, this to me should represent, or does, I think, is a representation of the best Hollywood has to offer right now. And if this is the best Hollywood can do, the best director, the best, the first time a movie was fully shot in IMAX, I think, like the best camera, the best, some of the top actors. I feel like that's disappointing. So anyway, that's that. I got my last sip of my beer here. So that means the stream is over. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed the demo of the tool. I hope you think, like I said, I would greatly appreciate anybody who wants to use this. I will put my link of how to contact me, how to get a hold of this, in the description of this. The best way would be to either, it will most likely be available through my Patreon page, again for free. There will probably be a paid tier that'll be optional if you want to throw me some money if you end up using this, but to get it is going to be free because it's still beta. There's going to be problems with it. I'm not going to charge anybody for it, and I want to try and have like a free tier and then a paid tier, because I do think this would help a lot of people, and I just want to kind of get people like I said, one of the big things is freeing you from being tied to a service provider, like one of these websites where you can build your project and you're not stuck with subscription where, oh my God, I'm going to lose my entire project if I cancel. This is a way to build out a project, keep everything you need locally, have everything archived, have it organized, and have it portable, which I think is a, makes it a valuable tool. I know for me, that's the biggest upside that I see in it. With that being said, I'm going to peace out and hopefully have some good weather. Be hitting the beach tomorrow. I hope everybody has a great weekend. And I don't have anything else to say. So we will switch off here. We'll get our outro music going. I just realized I did not change my stream over. Oh boy. What an amateur. I was going to put I'll just have to do this. Now, you know what? No, wait, hold on. There we go. Look at that. Stream over. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and I will catch you all next week.